Chanelle, I want to thank you for being back here in our APTN National News Winnipeg studio. My first question I want to ask, of course, is you were recently featured on Say magazine and Vanish magazine, the international, magician magazine, something you could only dream of doing. Talk to me about what it feels like to be featured on those two magazines.
Sure, thanks for having me back on APTN, Creason. It's great to be here. So yeah, my Vanish magazine cover was a dream come true. It's the largest magic magazine publication for magicians across the world. And I've only been a magician for 4 years, and Vanish magazine has actually featured Criss Angel on the cover. So to also be on the cover is an absolute honor. It's a funny story. So my partner, Sean Watson, magician, he said to me, you know, I actually know the owner of Vanish magazine. I can get you on the cover if you want. And I said, no, if I get on the cover, it's because of my own volition and what I do. And sure enough, a few months later, the owner of Vanish magazine called me and said, you've been making waves, doing magic in Indigenous communities. It's something that's never been done before to this extent, and I want to feature you on the cover because you're doing something really different and really great. So it was awesome to just make it there on my own, and because I am doing something different. And then once I got on the cover of Vanish, it sort of snowballed to be featured on the cover of Say magazine.
Cool.
And so Say magazine was created by a Métis woman who wanted to amplify Indigenous voices in the education sector.
Yeah.
So Say, it stands for Spirit of Aboriginal Youth. Mm-hmm. And so to be on the cover of their magazine and continue on that legacy is a real honor.
This past summer and throughout the months, you've been traveling up north, doing shows in Indigenous communities. Why is that work so important for you?
Well, I've always leaned into my Indigenous culture. I've always been very proud of my Red River Métis ancestry. I'm a firm believer that without Indigenous culture in Canada, there would be zero culture in Canada, or it would be a bleak landscape. So I just love my own Indigenous culture, and it's something I lean into in my lifestyle and in my artwork. But I find there's a real importance to be performing up north and in remote communities, because a lot of times these communities don't have access to entertainment. And I feel like entertainers are a great role model and source of inspiration for the youth. Whether you're a magician, musician, singer, actor, it's just an incredible way to give back. And it's also the most fulfilling for me. Sean and I just got back from a 2-week tour in Yukon, and it was the first time these kids have ever seen a magic show. And so the looks on their faces when they see us do a trick, that's just so fulfilling for me.
Yeah, for sure. And this past summer in Manitoba, you went out to a northern Indigenous community there and brought along Johnny Reid and Mariana's Trench, both gifted artists and band there. Can you explain how that event went?
Yes, so I did that with my agency that I have with my partner, Sean Watson. So it's called Thrill Star Entertainment. And so we are looking at bringing A-list, big name people to remote fly-in communities. And St. Teresa Point seemed like they just absolutely loved it. I've been looking at their community Facebook photos and the photos that they've taken with Johnny Reid and Mariana's Trench. Mariana's Trench did this incredible thing where they brought one of their drums, like a drum kit drum, and like all the members signed it and they gifted it to the chief, and there's beautiful photos of that. So it was a really beautiful event to help orchestrate with the help of St. Teresa Point.
That's so great to hear. Chanelle, finally, what's next for you in your career?
So next is actually another agency called Thunderbird Talent. So I'm only going to feature Inuit, Indigenous, Métis, First Nations performers and artists. And it's also going to be a consulting agency. So anyone who's like me, who's an artist that wants to understand more about the show business aspect and learn more about the business, it's also going to be consulting like that, and geared towards young Aboriginal youth that are up-and-coming artists.
Well, Chanelle, we'll have to leave it there. We really thank you for your time, and we wish you all the best on your journey ahead.
Thank you so much, Creason. Miigwech.